We're going to talk to you about the most urgent thing that is on our mind and what we suspect is the most urgent thing on the minds of those who will connect with us. We'll title this tape, Planet Earth About to be Recycled. Your only chance to evacuate is to leave with us.
Welcome to RighteousVerse, the final frontier, where no women have went before. Come along with Stacy and Kim. They truly are out of this world.
We know you guys are international agents of mystery.
I knew about Heaven's Gate, but I think you might know a little bit more than me, so I'll let you take off.
So,
Planet Earth About to be Recycled.
Used to fall asleep in front of the TV whenever I was 15, 16 years old. And I would wake up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and Marshall Applewhite would be on the TV preaching about his cult because it was so weird. He was on mainstream television at 3 a.m. talking about the Hale-Bopp comet and how you needed to join his people because the comet was coming, and that Jesus was actually on a rocket ship behind the comet, and that you had to leave your body behind.
Andrea, PBS used to get wild at nighttime.
Yeah.
They were out here wilding. Okay, but I thought he was Jesus, wasn't he?
Well, he changed it later on. Marshall Applewhite was a character, y'all.
Planet Earth About to be Recycled.
Bo and Peep is what they ended up calling themselves. They met in a facility, a psych facility, and then they traveled around. He was a professor at the University of Alabama. And they would travel around and gather people for this cult for a long time.
It started in the 70s.
It did.
A lot of cults seem to have started in this. What were you guys doing in the 70s?
Smoking.
They were over there tripping on acid, or you guys were doing something crazy back then, because I can tell you ain't nobody coming up to me in a hotel and being like, hey, join us so the aliens can take you. And me being like, dope.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yes.
That's all I can think about when I think about the 70s.
I was like, there's no way people believe this.
I actually read a story where they went to Oregon. People went to this very skeptical, and there were reports that there were people who were coming home, packing a bag and leaving forever and going with Marshall Applewhite and his group.
Yeah, it actually made the news.
Yeah. And
which was crazy back then.
Yeah. Insane. I think that they became really famous because they were the first cult to use the internet and mainstream television to promote their cult.
Well, and of course they had the money because they were yet another one of those cults where you gave all of your money to the collective.
I was reading about them, and they definitely followed the BITE model. Everything had to be exactly the same. The mind control and the indoctrination was so hard in this cult. You had to dress the same. You had to eat everything exactly the same, like pancakes. There was a survivor of the cult and he was saying for breakfast, it wasn't just everybody ate pancakes. There was a measurement for the batter. There was an amount of time that you cooked the pancake on each side. That was how precise everything had to be. In this cult, everything was exact. That's indoctrination that hard. That's hard to break. Because once you're in that and you're forced to do everything exactly the same all the time, and then someone comes to you and says it's time to leave your body, your vehicle behind. And even in the end, even that was methodical in how they did it.
I don't even measure whenever I put like this stuff into a bowl to make pancakes. So they would definitely not have let me into their group.
Well, me either. So I'm the type of person that it's like the pancake mix goes in the bowl and then some water. And then if it's too much water, then more pancake mix. And then if it's not too much pancake mix, then it's more water. And then 158 pancakes later.
Yes. Because it's always way more pancake mix than I could have possibly needed.
Because I can't get it right. So I'm like, well, we're eating pancakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in this house. You guys want to invite the whole cul-de-sac over?
And also, can I say, the longer you keep using the pan, the hotter it gets. So there's no way you could cook every pancake for the same time on the same temperature and still end up with the same result. That's silly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for whoever was getting the last pancakes. I don't know. Maybe whoever was getting the first pancake was getting one that was still kind of runny, and whoever got the last one got a decent one. I don't know. Either way, I feel bad for somebody. Like, I'm lazy. I'm like, look, I made pancakes. Eat them or don't. Probably call my job and be like, hey, math wasn't it for her.
I don't know if you guys watched SNL back whenever.
Okay, so I was hoping that we talked about this.
So days after that happened, where the 39 people took their lives and the comet came by, SNL, they did a skit where him and his people were on the spaceship with the aliens, and they were talking to a news broadcast, and the news broadcast was saying, like, Marshall Applewhite, you were correct, we were all wrong, what's it like? And that skit is, I mean, it today, or what, 24 years later, they would have been so canceled for that skit. It is crazy.
Oh, and then this skit immediately following, because one thing that all 39 members had in common were they were wearing the same outfit the day that they left their vessels
Yeah.
to go onto the spaceship.
Well, this is part of the indoctrination whenever we were talking about the pancakes, right? So everything was the same. They all wore black tracksuits and Nike shoes. And so they all wore the same thing all the time.
And they got these shoes on sale so they could all have the same pair. So they were all wearing the exact same pair of Nike shoes. Immediately following their skit about that, the reason I was wanting to bring up the shoes is they did a commercial, a fake commercial for Keds, and they had a tagline that said, worn by level-headed Christians.
I don't know, it's kind of burned into your memory when you see something like this, like all of these feet wearing the same shoes, sticking out from under these purple like blankets.
And they had little armbands on that said Heaven's Gateway Team.
It was like they believed in some stuff from Revelation, from the Bible, but then they also believed that Star Trek was real.
And like one of the men was a brother to an actress that was in Star Trek.
Oh, it was so strange. And I remember, so in like the whole process of going away to Jesus's rocket ship behind the comet was 15 people would drink the mixture that had the barbiturates in it and die. and they would be covered by 9 other people. And then another group of 15 would do it together. And then they would be covered by 9. And then those last 9, of course. And, you know, in this cult, in the Heaven's Gate cult, he made the men castrate.
They actually almost killed someone because they at first tried to do it at home. Like one of the members was a nurse, and they were like, we can just do castrations here.
Yeah.
Turns out a nurse doesn't make you qualified to do that. If any of you guys were wondering.
Okay, so here's the biggest insult that Stacy and I were talking about this earlier. They left 2 people behind to run their website. So they didn't get to go to the Jesus rocket ship.
And that's exactly what I said to Kim when we were talking about this was, how mad would you be if this is what you believed and you thought you had been such a great follower, you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, and they're like, all right, we're going, except for you. You need to stay and run the website.
Yeah, they're not deprogrammed. From what I understand, they still run the website. I cannot find the website. However, it is said to still exist. It's called Higher Source. And when you try to like Google Higher Source, you just get article after article after article about Heaven's Gate that it's hard. I didn't dig far enough to actually find Higher Source. And I don't know if it's highersource.org or if they've changed it since 2018. Yeah, dark web. I don't know. So it's out there. The truth is out there. Because Heaven's Gate was like my teenage years.
In 1997.
Oh, the year that they decided to get on the Jesus rocket ship and go home.
So, you know, an interesting thing about Heaven's Gate, though, as we're making fun of their 1997 website that they're still maintaining, is they were one of the first people to use computer mediated communications to run their cult. Like that was how a lot of their communicating was done in the later years. Marie Callender's is their last meal. So, well, I guess not technically their last meal because they did have their applesauce, but
laced with barbiturates.
Yes.
And phenobarbital.
This guy really said that angels didn't really have wings with feathers. They were flying in their spacecrafts, and they weren't really golden flame chariots. They were spaceships, and you didn't go off into the light. You went into the transportation. They made adult bodies to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So just your normal everyday stuff, guys.
Just, yeah, totally normal. Turn on Star Trek so you can learn what the afterlife is like. Yep.
I mean, who hasn't convinced themselves that them and their platonic spouse were actually God and Jesus? I said, I don't know that I could convince 39 people to meet me at a coffee shop for coffee, even if it were on me. So how you convince 39 people to not only do this, but for each group to take care of the groups prior that go before them. I'm like, that's the cult I'm in, the Starbucks cult.